Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Efforts are being advanced for the implementation of a digital single window for land property transactions here in SVG under the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project, CAR-TP. The single window for land and property transactions is one of the major components of CAR-TP, which promises to revolutionize the way government services are delivered and accessed by citizens and businesses in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A three-day workshop for critical stakeholders with varying degrees of involvement in land management commenced today at the French's House in Kingstown. The workshop seeks to develop functional requirements and specifications for the implementation of the Integrated Geospatial Information Framework on National Spatial Data Infrastructure, Parcel-Based Land Information System, and the Electronic Single Window for Land Property Transactions. At the workshop's opening ceremony, CAR-TP's project coordinator, Winston George, said that to meet the objectives of the project, there are several initiatives listed for implementation. However, critical among the activities which are well underway is the VINCI Single Window for Trade Facilitation, VSWIFT, which will allow for the electronic upload of licenses, permits, certificates, and other documents required by government agencies for the import and export of goods. A new tax information management system for electronic filing and payment of taxes and license, the upgrade of the civil registry, and the establishment of a foundational ID system which will allow for the online registration of births and deaths are also of critical importance.
VINCI Single Window, a contract was signed for that project. We are currently implementing it. We will soon sign a contract for the new tax information management system, and we are about to publish requests for proposals for the upgrade of the civil registry and the foundational ID system. In this workshop, we'll look at the needs and requirements for the governance, management, and sharing of spatial or land use data and information, the establishment of a digital parcel-based land information system, and the establishment of an electronic single window for land and property transactions. Following this workshop, we will prepare terms of references and requests for proposals to implement each item.
Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves, who also addressed the workshop's opening ceremony, said $10.5 million EC dollars will be spent on the modernization and digitalization of the property transfer transactions system.
You know, at the moment, you have these long paper deeds, which you pay lawyers a lot of money for. And they have to search every individual book. Some of them are in a terrible condition. We have been digitizing them. You have to search that book. You have to search also encumbrances, mortgages of one kind or another, when you're buying a piece of property. You have to check to see if you pay a water bill, because that runs with the land. You have to see if there's any high court judgment against you who's selling the land. So it's a complicated thing, and the search takes quite a while. And of course, there are these long documents, a lot of preamble, and then this indenture witness it, and then what follows, you can hardly understand it because there's no punctuation. Sentence rolls into sentence. That is part of the mystery of it, so that the lawyers can charge you more money. I've been in the trade, you know, so I know it. That is inefficient, wasteful, expensive. You have to change that. How do you change that? Well, we are fortunate in that we have information technology.
The Prime Minister also noted that the single window for land and property transactions will make it cheaper and quicker for persons to access.
What you then have to do is to do a cadastral survey and digitize it with every single parcel of land in the country identified. And that's put as a base, every parcel of the land. And all the encumbrances will be listed as a matter of course in that digital system. You'll have to double check it because everything will be cross-referenced. So you and I actually can go to the registry and buy and sell our property, you know, with a certificate of registration of title. I'm putting it in a nutshell. The experts can tell me, am I wrong?
No.
Is that essentially what this? Okay, fine. I'm sure I got it right. That's the long and short of it. So you're going to be faster, cheaper, more accurate. Oh, there are lots of little technical things in between which you will be in the systems to double check and for security and all the rest of it. But as far as you the consumer concerned, that is the issue. You the purchase of the land, that is the issue. Pure and simple. And this is part and parcel of the overall quest of the government to build a modern, competitive, many-sided post-colonial economy, which is national, regional, and global. And facilitate investors, create more jobs, make it easier for you to sell your property or buy your property. You don't have to pay lawyers as much money. Still, you'll go to the lawyers because they have specialized skills. But the old way will go. We have to pass the relevant laws to have title by registration and acknowledge the digitalized system. And that's it.
Land Management Officer with the Land and Service Department, Collis Murray, said due to the importance of the internet and the rise in technologies, digital transformation has become a reality and is an urgent matter for developing countries such as St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The rise in the new technologies has created new obstacles and opportunity for people who are not able to capitalize on the full potential of these innovations. These include people who are not able to access the internet and devices that are needed to support digital activities. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, there have been other projects with similar goals as the digital transformation, namely the National Land Information Project, NALIM, which was done in 2007, and the Land Titling Project. All, however, has not been lost. Through NALIM, there have been several deliverables that we are currently benefiting from. These include base map derived from aerial photography, done in 2007 with a resolution of 10 centimeters in the urban areas and 25 centimeters in the rural areas. When we speak about these resolutions, we're speaking of how low you can zoom in to see features. Land parcels and data sets that were created under this project are still being used. Even though we recognize that there are numerous errors in that overlapping, etc., that needs to be cleaned. There was also development of the GIS unit, which is currently housed at the Physical Planning Unit. This unit was created as a depository for all data from all stakeholders. So as information is gathered by different stakeholders, such as TWSA, Statistical Office, these are fed into the National GIS unit. And persons who request such information normally request it through the GIS unit, and it is given out. Well, that is how it was set up.
The CARTP project has been implemented in the 4 Woodward Islands, namely St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica, Grenada, and St. Lucia. Comprise regional and national level activities financed by a loan from the World Bank's International Development Association, IDA, of approximately US $94 million, with the loan for SVG amounting to US $30 million. The project commenced in June 2021 and is expected to be completed in June 2026. The Caribbean Digital Transformation Project aims to increase access to digital services, technologies and skills by governments, businesses and individuals in the Eastern Caribbean countries, including SVG. Essentially, it is about enhancing the ease of individuals and businesses to conduct business with the various participating countries or governments. 350 Rotarians from 17 countries were in SVG for 3 days as part of the Rotary District 7030 conference. Chair of the conference, Shafia London Williams, says it was a success and that SVG beats the odds of hosting an event with such magnitude. London Williams said the work of Rotarians is expected to expand as networking on projects moving forward is key.
Our focus is really on different focus areas that ensure that the average person has a fair chance. And so we were able to learn from each other, see those projects and see which ones we could collaborate with or which ones we can adapt for our own circumstances in a particular country. So that work will continue. Our Rotary International President Representative was very keen on collaboration because sometimes we are in these silos in different countries, not recognizing that the same challenge exists in another. And if we pool resources, we might be able to impact more people and impact them in a deeper way. And so this conference allowed us to meet, put a face to the name. So when you call someone, when you hear about a project, you already have a face, the familiarity is there, that you can start a relationship with them and ensure that you could execute initiatives that could truly touch the lives of more people. So this conference really allowed us to do that, where we get to meet, we get to talk, we get to share those ideas, we get to say how could we combine our efforts, how can we become a collective Rotary to ensure that we are doing our part.
The district chair said that sharing hope, the theme for this year's conference, was executed in many ways as Rotarians are volunteers who continue to share hope. It was also noted by London Williams that in addition to the indoor conference, Rotarians were able to boost SVG's tourism and hospitality sector in many ways.
The people, once they were at Kingston Baptist Church during the break, they were all over Kingston shopping. So they get to really spend time and money in the country. and it was an honor to be able to pull something of this magnitude off. I'm truly proud as a Vincentian. I'm truly proud of our people who work to do this. I'm sure at least 50% of those persons are coming back, and I'm sure at least 90% of those persons are going to speak about St. Vincent and the Grenadines and tell a friend, which is what we need. We need the word of mouth. We need people to talk about our country and promote our country. So yes, it was for Rotary, but it was much bigger than we are. And I think in all fairness, I think we did it successfully.
London Williams says she sees the potential of hosting large conferences in SVG that could be a new feature to add when promoting tourism.
The authority provided a gratis boat ride and bus tour on the Sunday. Now the boat ride had a capacity of 150 persons. We will finish booking that within an hour of communicating it. Everybody literally want to go to Beckway, as the song says, and we ended up having to get another catamaran to join it. A lot of persons also went on the bus tour, so they really got to appreciate this scenic wonder that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is, whether by sea or by road. The feedback from both places was tremendous. And I think, it opens up a door for us in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Perhaps this is something we can look into. Host conferences, you're getting hundreds of people at a time. It is challenging, I'm telling you. It was very challenging. But, now you have a group of Rotarians who have the experience. You could always rely on us to provide that knowledge, that wealth of knowledge. And I know recently the government hosted CELAC. So there is a group of people who I could say we have that knowledge that we could share, and we could open that door.
Ambassador of the Hellenic Republic, or Greece, to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, His Excellency Efthymios Etimiadis, presented credentials to Governor General of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan, at Government House on Monday, April 22nd, 2024. Ambassador Etimiadis also met with high-level government officials, including Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kiesel Peters. St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Hellenic Republic established diplomatic relations on August 13, 1997, and continue to enjoy the existing fraternal relationship of mutual support and consideration of interest to the benefit of both nations. There has been an increase in cases of bronchial asthma and other allergic conditions triggered by particle pollution in the atmosphere, including the Saharan dust. This is according to consultant pediatrician attached to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, Dr. Sharon Davis Andrews, who on NBC Radio Talk Your Talk program virtually today advised persons to do their best to minimize dust exposure.
Of course, this is a concern for our children because this usually impairs their function, their quality of life. Therefore, this may result with missed school days, definitely, probably even missed work for the parents, and therefore there are numerous implications of this. Bronchial asthma can be, in terms of an exacerbation, it can be quite mild, but it can also get so severe that it requires hospitalization, sometimes very severe and intense therapy, such as ICU admission. And therefore, it is important to talk about this because we're trying to prevent these exacerbations and prevent them from being so sick. Right. So, especially for those with asthma, we do know that there are several things that can trigger it. And we mentioned that dust being one of the main things. And therefore, what's important for children with asthma, a lot of them are on medications to prevent exacerbations or attacks. So it's usually an inhaler. So you may have heard of a puff or an inhaler. Our recommendation is that for those who are advised to be on it every single day, especially during this time, that you remain on your medication to prevent from having these severe attacks. Other conditions that's affected by the dust would be allergic symptoms. So the thing is, asthma tends to be under a broad umbrella of symptoms that we call atopy, where your body is very hyperactive or hyper-responsive to certain triggers.
Noting that some infants are unable to communicate what they are experiencing, particularly symptoms of difficulty breathing, Dr. Davis Andrews highlighted a few signs which parents should look out for.
Require you to be quite vigilant, looking out for certain signs. So one of the things we mentioned was an increased respiratory rate, so they're probably breathing fast. So you're looking at the rate being increased, so they're breathing faster than usual. And they may also have increased work of breathing. So it seems as if they're using more effort to breathe. They may also, as I mentioned, a cough. A cough is one of those things that you may notice, especially a nighttime cough, one that may wake them up from sleep, so late nights, early morning. So any new onset cough. And then I would say that for those who are not speaking, there are some non-specific signs, especially in the younger ones, if we're talking about toddlers, probably infants. In addition to the changes in the breathing, we may notice that they're not as active or they're not feeding as well. They're taking a long time to feed. They're pausing with feeds, and that usually means that the effort that it takes to even feed, it's causing significant distress. So those are some of the things for the preverbal children who may not be speaking, and definitely as they get older, as we mentioned, that they may complain of the chest pain and the chest tightness and shortness of breath.
1 week after the reopening of schools in St. Vincent and the Grenadines from the Easter break, students of the Thomas Saunders Secondary and the Girls High School were sent home half-day today due to another flea infestation of the buildings they have been using for the past 3 years. The two secondary schools are among 3 being temporarily housed at the structures built on the decommissioned E.T. Joshua Airport tarmac at Arnisvale. President of the SVG Teachers Union, Oswald Robertson, who is also a parent of a student at the Thomas Saunders Secondary School, said that parents got a message to inform them of the half-day school and that there will also be no school tomorrow.
That's Monday. You had the Farm 1 students had to move down to the Farm 5 because the Farm 5 students, they have been sent home to prepare for CXC exams. And now the school has to be closed today and tomorrow. Now that is a piecemeal fashion. When you're dealing with fleas, you have to treat the school for about approximately a week. You have to do it properly, it must be done thoroughly, and then you do an assessment to see whether what you have treated them with, whether it's working or not. You cannot put certain chemicals around school and then a day or two after expect the children to come back. They would still be there.
This is not the first time that schools' sessions have been disrupted in the area due to flea infestation. Robinson made an appeal to the Ministry of Education and Health authorities to address the problem urgently.
To construct a school, you have to do proper analysis of the environment, the soil, to know what you must do. You have to be proactive. You can't just go and put down a school and then do your proper environmental assessment, your studies, to show what is there that you may have to deal with. So now that the school has been constructed here, it's going in more than 5 years. You're right. I am concerned that there is still a problem with fleas. This is about the third or fourth occasion. The school has to be closed. The children have to go home, and that is last of instructional time. We from the St. Vincent and Grenadines Teachers Union, we have called on the relevant authorities to use a more proactive approach, to be robust when they're dealing with pests around school environment. So here again we are calling on the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health to work collaboratively to have this problem resolved.
Robinson said they also need to consider the animals in the environs of the schools and arrive at a long-term solution.
But it's also impacting on the teachers. It's not only the students, it's the teachers. You have you have tettering of dogs, you see? Those dogs used to be living under the school, right? And they still would find their way into. So we need this fencing to be checked thoroughly to see what is happening. On Monday I came here and I saw sheep and cows right just next door, So you need the cooperation of the community also to keep away these animals from educational institutions. We know some people, they don't have extra lands when they rear animals, and especially traditionally here is where they bring their animals. So I don't know. I know this area is earmarked for a hospital, but in the interim, I don't know if the government could probably fence an area and say that is where you could put the animals. That is a conversation the authorities might need to have with the residents in the area.
There is a need to change the mental fabric of society and to take a whole society approach in dealing with the issue of sexual violence in SVG. This is according to head of the Sexual Offences Unit of the RSVG Police Force, Assistant Superintendent Nigel Butcher, who was a panelist on SVG-TV's Viewpoint program on Sunday, discussing the recent increased penalties for sexual offences, the impact these offences are having on victims and the society, and whether the age of consent is contributing to the incidences of sex crimes in the country.
The data has shown that there has been an increase over the years since the inception of the unit. The behavioral pattern has to change. Dr. Miller alluded to the dress code of the girls, and this is where parents comes in. The person who have the most important role, in my view, to play in the protection. They have an obligation, they have a responsibility when it comes to these girls. How can you have a girl child living with you, and you're not absorbing the behavioral patterns of the girl, your child? School overs at 3 p.m. The child lives within an area where approximate time of getting home should be about half an hour, 20 minutes. And she gets home 2 or 3 hours later. You're not asking questions. And that is why I said I am of the view that parents, rather than being part of the solution, they're part of the problems. So when it comes to education, we not only have to target the children, we have to target, and that is what we do. That is something we do in the unit as well. That's why we go to the schools, we deliver lectures, we go to PTAs at the school, we speak to the parents, We go to the churches, we go to community groups, and we educate, and we mainly target the young minds, the student population. But the parents, in my view, have the most critical role to play. And I do believe we have a culture. Unfortunately, there's an increase in the offense. And I am speaking based on the data that I have in here. But we have a society, it needs the society approach. You would remember, Jennifer, in the old days, they would say that it takes a community to raise a child. So all the stakeholders have to be involved in dealing with this issue.
On whether there is a culture of sexual violence in SVG, lawyer Roderick Jones, who was also a panelist on the program, said there is a problem that is deep-rooted and deeply entrenched in the society, which requires a multifaceted and multidimensional approach in dealing with such a vexing problem.
First of all, the mere fact that there was a need to create a sexual offences unit in 2018, to me points to a recognition that there is a problem. What is sad though, is that even recognizing that we do have a problem of sexual offences, the legal framework did not make the necessary adjustment to support the unit as is. I continue to be very burdened by the fact that in 2024, we in St. Vincent and the Grenadines have not seen the need to have a Sexual Offences Act. Dominica has one. I will agree that some of the other regional territories may not have. But what they have done to their criminal code is that they have made some meaningful amendments.
Jones, who serves as a practitioner at the family court, says there is a need for the various sexual offences to be under one umbrella legislatively and to increase the scope of these offences.
I'm appalled that in 2024, our lawmakers have not seen the need to increase the sexual offences. To date, the extent of our sexual offences in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is still limited to rape and sexual assault. Well, rape, you can add to the mix unlawful sexual intercourse. So what about harassment? Why haven't we made the necessary legal changes to ensure that this now becomes an offence in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? And there are a host of other offences that can be added. For example, stalking. There are a lot of people who are victims of stalkers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You may not appreciate the advances of somebody, but because there's no such offense in St. Vincent, you have to be burdened with knowing that there's somebody who is following you on your way to and from work or home, and there's nothing you can do about it because it's not on the books.
It's not against the law.
It's not against the law. Think about the amount of women who have to endure harassment in the workplace. There's nothing you can do about it because, again, it's not against the law. Voyeurism, for example, where people get sexual pleasure in invading the privacy of others, recording them or looking at them. These are things that need to be addressed by our legislators.
Director of Forestry Fitzgerald Providence is appealing to members of the public to desist from poisoning rivers and streams for the catching of crayfish, which he says is an ongoing issue. He is asking persons to notify the authorities if they see someone committing this act. Providence, who spoke on the issue on NBC Radio's Face-to-Face program yesterday, explained that putting poisonous materials into rivers or streams, whether liquid or solid, kills the creatures inside, which is against the Wildlife Act.
Chemicals and what persons used in the rivers are very dangerous in that they kill the animals immediately. They don't discriminate, so they kill from juvenile to adult, and persons really go after the adults, and the adults are not there to reproduce when they die, and the juveniles are not there to come and build a population. So it's very dangerous to poison the rivers. Also, the dead animals changes the whole water quality, and this is dangerous and goes all the way down to the sea. Persons still use the rivers to bathe, to wash, and this is a very dangerous practice in terms of poisoning of the rivers and streams for catching of crayfish or other type of aquatic animals. And this is something we don't want to happen because of the dangers to the environment, but also the dangers to the persons who consume these animals. Because the poison material that you use to kill the animal is in the animal. And when you consume it, it may be a small amount, but it builds up in the tissues of the body and can be dangerous along in terms of life. And we did get some reports of these river poison, but when you see the impact, the persons who have done it have already disappeared. That's long-term effect of that.
Speaking on the re-emergence of habitats after the explosive eruption of La Soufrière in 2021, the Forestry Director said that they are witnessing favorable outcomes of the overall environment.
In the initial bunch, we saw these beautiful endemic butterflies, and then we've seen the endemic plants that actually grow on the volcano. And when I mean endemic, these plants are only found in St. Vincent. They have come back on the slopes, something that we were concerned about. But as I said, the island was developed from the volcano. Therefore, these plants and animals have become adapted to these impacts. But it's where you have the conflict between the humans and because we are expanding as humans more into the forest areas and so on. So that is the main concern. But we've seen positive also with the St. Vincent Parish population. We conducted 2 censuses after the volcanic eruption, and the numbers are favorable. We know that they moved out of the way of the volcanic eruption, and they went into lower areas outside of the red zone. And we know there were some that died, but we see that the population has come back well. But obviously, we've not looked at all the animals in terms of snakes and so on, but we've looked at with concern of some what we call alien invasive species.
9 contestants have been named to compete in the Miss SVG Teen Pageant 2024. The delegates were introduced to the public during a session ceremony hosted by the SVG Teen Committee at the La View Hotel in Indian Bay on Saturday, April 20th, 2024. The theme chosen for the 2024 pageant is Empowering Youth and Celebrating Diversity. Delivering remarks at the session ceremony, Coordinator Anjanella Young said the occasion marks the beginning of a journey filled with promise, inspiration, and bundles of opportunities for the contestants.
We are proud to continue the legacy of empowering our youth and celebrating their achievements. The Miss SVG Teen 2024 pageant is not just a competition. It is a celebration of the strength, resilience, and diversity of our nation's youth. As we launch this year's pageant, let us reflect on the values that define us as Vincentians: unity, compassion, and excellence. Let us embrace the spirit of camaraderie and support as we cheer on our contestants and witness their journey of growth and self-discovery. To the young ladies who have answered the call to participate in this year's pageant, I commend you for your courage, dedication, and grace. You are a shining star of our future, and we are honored to stand beside you as you embark on this incredible journey.
Master of Ceremony Nika Anderson Isaacs shared an encouraging message to the 9 contestants.
You possess unique gifts, talents, and dreams waiting to be unleashed upon the world. As you stand tonight to be sashed, remember that you are more than just contestants. You are ambassadors of empowerment, symbol of strength and beacons of hope for a brighter future. To our audience gathered here, I urge you to not just witness the growth and development of these young ladies, but to encourage them, to motivate them, and to support them. Of movements, of champions, the power of youth as we celebrate the beauty of diversity and embrace the limitless potential within each and every one of us. Let this moment ignite a fire within our hearts to inspire and support and uplift and empower the young women gracing the stage tonight. Our young women are very important in our society. They are the future leaders, they are our future mothers, and we want to ensure that we give them all the grace, the love and support that they require to be the best versions of themselves. Let us embark on a journey of discovery, growth, and transformation. Let us break down the barriers, defy stereotypes, and pave the way for the world where every voice is heard, every dream is realized, and every individual is valued for who they are.
Here is a look at the 9 young ladies who will vie for the title of Miss SVG Teen 2024.
18-year-old Laurie Welch, a contestant in the Miss SVG Teen pageant 2024 and a hospitality student at the Division of Technical and Vocational Education.
From the beautiful sugar city of Georgetown, I am 15-year-old Luania Bilinji, a student of the Georgetown Secondary School, an aspiring lawyer, influencer, and entrepreneur.
On August 10th, you will not only see beauty, but intelligence. Don't forget the name, don't forget the face. I am Tanika Anthony.
I am a student of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College. My aim is to obtain a degree in nursing. I enjoy singing and acting. In this pageant, I am prepared to display my inner and outer beauty, along with my vivacious talent.
And I stand before you as an ambitious young lady, currently pursuing my dreams of becoming a nurse at none other than the Division of Nursing Education. I'm also a musician who loves playing the violin.
I am from the lovely island called Beckway. I enjoy dancing and singing. My childhood dreams is to pursue a nursing career.
I thoroughly enjoy dancing and acting, and I'm a fifth form student at the Bishop College Kingston Secondary School. On the 10th of August, beauty and brains will marry in a spectacular display that will mesmerize you.
Stronger than before now, I'ma give you more now. It's exactly what you're about to witness.
In the future, I will become the Director of Creative Arts in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I am excited, elated, and honored to be a delegate in this Miss SVG Teen 2024.